Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the uh, channel, and we continue our progress here on the channel once again with our thought loop kind of process on how to help people in a different way, and also kind of getting things to a better way for ourselves with communication. So, what are some things we can do that help us to communicate with people better? The first is focus on safety. Does it feel safe to talk to the person in front of us? When we feel safe with a person, we're going to be more honest. When we're more honest, we can build more transparent and useful connections. And so, when we don't feel that we can be safe, we're going to either withhold information and be reserved, or we can kind of focus on how we are coming across to the point where we aren't as transparent as we'd like to be. And that then leads to frustration for the other person. It leads to frustration for us. It leads to ultimately a lot of damage in the long run. And, there's a lot of frustration that comes with that. The next is connecting through simple touch. Now, touch doesn't have to be of a intimate nature. Touch can simply be a pat on the back, a squeeze of a hand, a rub on a shoulder. It can show the desire to be close. And when we're physically close to a person, we can then also feel comfortable sharing more intimate details of our lives. A lot of times we're looking for that connectedness of emotional support, and when we feel like we're close with a person, it's easier to maintain and obtain an understanding of how to do that for them and them for us, and we become more adept at expressing our emotions and our feelings and our thoughts and the things that matter to us from the basis of how we feel supported. Now, trying to rush oneself through the process, never a good idea, even though most of us do it, especially if we feel that we're behind the eight ball with where we think we should be as it relates to the goals that we have for the relationships we're trying to maintain. But sometimes relational goals don't always go in the way we'd like them to go for a number of reasons, usually ultimately because we want people to be more ready to spend time with us or to invest in us than we actually are willing to give back to them, but we don't see ourselves effectively and appropriately because oftentimes people think that who they are should be automatically understood, especially this is conditioning that we learn through things like religion and politics, with both of those being divisive nature in the world. We think that everybody thinks the way that we do, and ultimately that thought that other people think the way that we do, or can be super problematic for a number of reasons, and a lot of times that happens just because people don't really understand how to connect with each other based on differences. I think one of the biggest skills that we need to learn in communication is agreeing to disagree with people and valuing them anyway. I know that I've gone through periods of my life where I've lost some connections with people just because we have different views, and it is never necessary to lose connection with people over views if you really accept who the person is at face value. And so it becomes valuable to begin to understand how to communicate what the expectation is when the need to agree to disagree is present, and how to honor a person and their contributions to your life, even if you're not 100% in sync with them. Understanding what the goals of a successful life look like for both parties, even in friendships or business relationships, is another important factor. If you have different definitions of what makes a relationship, a friendship, a business partnership, a romantic relationship successful, then you're going to have hurt feelings that don't need to be there, because ultimately, if one party is giving into the other party's version of success, but it's not what they really need, want, or desire, that can become problematic for a whole bunch of reasons. So it's important to understand how to articulate the things that you define as a successful relationship. It's important to articulate the things that matter to you most and the things that you're willing to be flexible on. A lot of times we think that we can't tolerate something until we care about somebody, and then we can reevaluate. Now, sometimes that causes us to give in on things that we normally wouldn't, just to keep them in our lives, and other times we realize that the things that we've held on to for a long time aren't things that matter as much as they used to anymore. And so identifying the things that matter most and identifying the things that you're willing to change for the right person is important as well. So hopefully this is helpful. I encourage you to keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Until next time, everybody.